If you haven't watched the campaign overview yet, I recommend starting there first. Once you're familiar with the basics, this walkthrough will show you how to create a new campaign. To get started, go to the top menu and click Campaigns. From the Campaigns page, click Create New Campaign. Next, choose the template you want to use for your campaign. After selecting your template, give the campaign a name, then click Create Campaign. Once the campaign opens, you'll see the zones from the template. Keep in mind that you cannot move or resize zones inside the campaign editor. If you need to change the size or placement of a zone, that change must be made in the template editor. You can, however, rename the campaign at any time. Now, let's start adding content. We'll begin with Zone 1. You can select a zone by clicking directly on the zone in the layout, or by clicking the zone name in the panel on the right-hand side. For this example, we'll add the company logo to Zone 1 by going to the library and choosing the content. Then click Add One File and close. Next, we'll move to Zone 4 and add a picture. Click the zone, then choose Library. Select the image you want to use, then click Add One File and close. You can add images and videos to any zone this same way. Now let's look at Zone 5. If you do not want to add an image or video, you can add a widget instead. Click Add Widget. This opens the widget catalog, where you can choose from different widgets to add to your campaign. For example, you can add a clock widget. Choose the clock style you want, such as a clock that shows the time, day, and date, or a simpler version that only shows the time and date. Once you choose the widget, you can configure the settings. Depending on the widget, you may be able to change the background color, text color, layout, font, or other display options. When you're done configuring the widget, click Add to Zone. The widget will now appear in the selected zone. You can also add other widgets, such as weather. To add the weather widget, click Add Widget, choose the weather option, and enter your zip code. Then continue through the configuration options. You can choose the layout, decide how many days to show, adjust the colors, and customize the display. When everything looks the way you want, click Add to Zone. For a cafe-style campaign, you may also want to use a widget like Recipe of the Day. This type of widget may include different layout options, colors, and fonts that you can customize before inserting it into the zone. You can also add testimonial-style widgets if you want to display customer reviews or comments. Some widgets may use a Google Sheet. In that case, you can download the template, fill it out, publish the Google Sheet, and paste the published link into the widget settings. If you need more help with a specific widget or app, you can look for that individual tutorial in the Help section. Now, let's continue adding content to the other zones. Click Zone 2. For this example, we'll add content from projects. Click Projects, select the project you want to use, then click Add One Item and close. That project will now be added to the selected zone. Next, click Zone 3. For this zone, we'll add content from the library. Select the files you want to use. For example, you may want to add a menu image and a video. Once both items are selected, click Add to Files and close. Now, Zone 3 has multiple pieces of content. When a zone has multiple content items, you can choose how they play. You can set the playback mode to Sequence, which plays the items in order, or Random, which plays them in a randomized order. You can also add content from Designer. For example, let's add a Designer item to Zone 2. Click Zone 2, then choose Designer. Select the image or video you created in Designer. Once it shows that the item has been added, you can close the window. The Designer item will now appear in the zone's content list. Each piece of content has its own settings. You can change the occurrence count, which controls how often that item appears in the playlist. If you want one item to play more often than the others, increase the occurrence count. You can also adjust the duration. If you want an item to stay on screen longer, increase the time. If you want it to move to the next item faster, decrease the time. You can set the duration using hours, minutes, and seconds. You can also schedule individual content items. For example, if you have an early bird special that should only play on a certain day and during a specific time, open that item's schedule settings. You can choose the days of the week you want it to play and add a time slot between certain times. You can also schedule for a specific period of time, like a month. Click specific days, then start date and end date. You can also rename individual content items at any time. If you want to duplicate a piece of content, click Duplicate. If you no longer want that item in the zone, click Delete. You can also rename the zones inside the campaign. For example, if Zone 2 is on the left side of the screen, you can click the edit icon and rename it Left. This can make the campaign easier to manage, especially when you have multiple zones. Once everything is configured the way you want, you can save your campaign. If this is a new campaign, click Save. If you are editing an existing campaign and your system is live, you can click Save and Update Players. This saves your changes and pushes the update to any online players using that campaign. Before saving or updating players, you can click Preview. Preview opens the campaign in a new tab so you can see how it will look full screen on your system. Use Preview to check that your images, videos, widgets, projects, and designer items are displaying correctly. Once everything looks good, your campaign is ready to save and use. That's how to create a new campaign, add content to your zones, customize widgets, adjust playback settings, and preview your campaign before sending it to your players.